I'm David Hunt.
And I'm Wendy Natividad.
With NewsWrap, a summary of some of the news in or affecting LGBTQ communities around the world for the week ending July 30th, 2022. An estimated 30,000 people celebrated LGBTQ Pride in the streets of Budapest, Hungary on July 23rd. Mayor Gergely Karácsony hosted a Pride reception ahead of the parade for the first time. Just days earlier, the European Commission sued Hungary for its anti-queer, no promo homo law. The sweltering 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit heat brought out the rainbow umbrellas as well as the waving rainbow flags. Marchers protested Prime Minister Viktor Orban's hardline policies. Under his increasingly dictatorial regime, LGBTQ people are becoming second-class citizens. And you can add any other non-white, non-Christian Hungarian too. Originally elected in 2010, Orban narrowly won another term in April. The Prime Minister himself spent Pride Day giving a long-winded speech in Romania. He repeated his usual anti-immigrant and anti-queer rants, including, "The father is a man, the mother is a woman, leave our children alone." The European Commission's lawsuit at the Luxembourg-based Court of Justice challenges a Hungarian law passed last year. It muzzles discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools.
Berlin also celebrated Pride on July 23rd with a first at the German Parliament building. The Bundestag flew the rainbow flag for the first time. Police counted some 350,000 Pride marchers and spectators at the annual celebration. Germany's Christopher Street Day organizers said that up to 500,000 people attended Pride events throughout the city. The theme of the parade is chosen each year through a public forum. This year it was United in Love, Against Hate, War, and Discrimination. Kyiv and Kharkiv Pride representatives and other Ukrainian refugees joined the march as honored guests. Berlin's post-parade festivities were marred by 2 reported incidents of anti-queer hate. A group of 9 people apparently took exception to the clothing of a 15-year-old boy and his 16- and 17-year-old girlfriends. The younger girl responded to their verbal abuse, and one man punched her in the face. He and his courageous entourage ran away. A 32-year-old man was chased by a group of 8 bigots in the early morning hours. When they caught him, they pushed him to the ground, kicking him in the head and upper body. A woman passerby stepped in front of him to protect him. Guess what? Those courageous attackers also fled. Both victims were treated at the scene. Fortunately, neither required hospitalization.
Earlier today, I spoke with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
We had a frank and direct conversation. I pressed the Kremlin to accept the substantial proposal that we put forth on the release of Paul Whelan and Brittney Griner.
At a July 29th press conference, Blinken commented on reports that the Biden administration has offered Russia a prisoner exchange that would free lesbian WNBA star Brittney Griner and former Marine Paul Whelan. The Kremlin would get the notorious merchant of death, Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, in return. Whelan has been behind bars since 2018 for what the U.S. calls trumped-up espionage charges. Griner has been detained on drug charges since February, when cannabis vape cartridges were discovered in her luggage at a Moscow area airport. The high-powered basketball player's slow-moving trial is underway. She pleaded guilty in an effort to get a reduced sentence for the most serious drug distribution allegations, which U.S. authorities have described as bogus. Bout is serving a 25-year sentence in federal prison for conspiring to sell weapons to terrorists. Russian officials previously refused to make a deal until after Griner's trial has concluded. CNN reported on July 29th that Russia had indicated through back-channel communications that it wants another criminal in the proposed prisoner exchange in addition to Bout. It could be a drawn-out process.
Attorneys general from 22 Republican-controlled states are suing the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The July 26 filing challenges school meal program policies that ban bias based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Tennessee Attorney General Herbert Slattery is leading the lawsuit, based on claims that the Biden administration policy violates states' rights. To Slattery, the case is about a federal agency trying to change law, which is Congress's exclusive prerogative, as he told the Associated Press. This school meals program lawsuit comes on the heels of another suit Slattery and many of the same Republican attorneys general filed just last week. It challenges LGBTQ-positive anti-discrimination policies at the U.S. Department of Education and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A Trump-appointed federal judge issued an injunction against enforcement of those policies until the lawsuit is resolved. The Biden administration has based its anti-bias policies on last year's U.S. Supreme Court ruling that LGBTQ people are protected from discrimination in schools and at work.
A 10-year-old trans girl in Indiana can rejoin her softball team, at least until a lawsuit challenging the state's ban on her participation is resolved. U.S. District Judge for the Southern District of Indiana, Jane Magnus Stinson, issued the preliminary injunction on July 26th after deciding that AM's lawsuit has a likelihood of succeeding on its merits. After the state passed a law denying trans girls and women in grades K through 12 the right to compete in school sports, AM's parents were told that she could no longer play on her team. Lawmakers overrode the veto of Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, who warned that it could result in lawsuits against the state. Indeed, the ACLU of Indiana's suit on behalf of AM's parents against the law quickly followed. Similar trans bans in a number of other Republican-controlled U.S. states are also being challenged in federal courts.
The leader of a neo-Nazi group and 2 others were arrested outside a Drag Queen Story Hour event in the Jamaica Plains neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts on July 23rd. Young children and their parents attending the event were harassed by errant protesters who believed it involved pedophiles exposing themselves to young children.
The pedals are in blue today. I got a good video of it. So that men stood up, not the police. You guys need to arrest pedophiles.
Hi, you want a flyer? You want a flyer?
The National Socialist Club, or NSC 131, has chapters in all 6 New England states. Their stated goal is to create a network of white men to fight against the extinction of their race. The Anti-Defamation League classifies it as a neo-Nazi group.
A kid-friendly drag show brunch would have brought costume performers, food, and dancing to a Chicago, Illinois area bakery. Too bad the joy was overwhelmed by hate when vandals broke windows and scrawled anti-queer slogans on the building, including groomers and fags rape kids. Uprising bakery and cafe owner Karina Sack announced the event's cancellation on July 23rd. Sack had first vowed to go ahead despite the threatening email messages and phone calls, and even bags of feces left at the door. She gave up after continuing threats and the serious property damage, however, and reluctantly canceled the event for the safety of the performers, staff, and community. A local 24-year-old man has been arrested and charged with a hate crime and criminal property damage, both felonies. Police officials confirmed that their investigation found that the drag show brunch was not going to include nudity or sexually explicit content.
Right-wing protesters are trolling British drag queen Aida H Dee. She feared for her life when demonstrators invaded her Drag Queen Story Hour event in the city of Reading. Placards read, "Wake up, this is child abuse," and "Stop sexualizing children." A few days later, Aida had to reschedule a reading in Bristol after her team got word about similarly aggressive protests being planned there. The entertainer, also known as Sob Samuel, told Pink News, "Families that are attending my events are kind of doing their own protest by simply just attending." The shows will most definitely go on.
Finally, we propose a picture in the dictionary of U.S. Congressman Glenn Thompson of Pennsylvania to illustrate the word hypocrite. Thompson joined most fellow Republicans voting against the Respect for Marriage Act in the U.S. House. 3 days after dissing marriage equality, he toasted his gay son's husband at the couple's wedding.
You know, parents have hopes and dreams, right, with their kids. And as they grow and as they get a little older, we also hope and pray that they're going to find that one true love. As parents, we love it when they find their one true love, especially when they become a part of our families then, right? We're even fortunate with 3 sons and done a great job of adding to the family.
That's NewsWrap, global queer news with attitude, for the week ending July 30th, 2022. Follow the news in your area and around the world. An informed community is a strong community.
NewsWrap is written by Greg Gordon, edited by Lucia Chappelle, produced by Brian DeShazer, and brought to you by you.
Thank you. Help keep us in ears around the world at thiswayout.org, where you can also read the text of this newscast and much more.
And you can read the transcript and listen to NewsWrap each week by subscribing to our This Way Out radio channel on YouTube. For This Way Out, I'm David Hunt. Stay healthy.
And I'm Wendy Natividad. Stay safe.
This Way Out delivers LGBTQ news and culture to more than 150 local communities on radio stations around the world. And we are also a free online news service.
You can choose your favorite way to listen, online or on the air, at thiswayout.org.
Please sign up for our free e-newsletter, Inside This Way Out.
We'll respect your trust in us and make sure your personal information is never shared with others.
Just send us an email at info@thiswayout.org to receive the informative and unique addition to the show.
You'll be invited to join us for a more in-depth look into our stories and be encouraged to learn more about This Way Out's 3 decades of broadcast activism.
We hope you choose to join us in celebration of LGBTQ history and culture.
Email us at info@thiswayout.org to join the movement.
We'll make sure you always know what's going on inside This Way Out.